I can swim. Just can't walk or dress myself. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Salute, and welcome. Welcome back to the Black Ocean. Now, we're getting deep in with your host, the one and only Great Black Shark. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have a fully loaded broadcast. Oh, yes, we do. We have a loaded broadcast, and this is a broadcast I've been meaning to do for quite some time. Expect the shenanigans early, okay? But either way, y'all know how we do it. One puke, two monkey does not stop a show. This is a very important subject matter, especially at this particular time, at the hour of our history for foundational Black American freedmen and our own code, non-FBA brothers and sisters that are also here in this country. Because what I'm going to cover tonight, I'm going to go ahead and give the disclaimer. Sisters, you're going to take it a certain way, but those of you that are subscribed to my channel, are familiar with my content for a number of years, you're going to understand what I'm talking about when I say what I'm going to say, because I'm the guy that tells you what's in the best interest of the community. I don't worry about being liked or disliked or what have you. I'd rather tell you the truth and piss you off versus not tell you the truth and see something wrong and not say it, okay? This broadcast right here is going to piss off them folks. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that because, again, they don't like it when retired combat veterans tell our youth not to join any branch of the armed services. And I think even if you disagree with that, even if you are ex-military, whatever branch you were in, if you retired, I think I'm going to make a hell of a case because I don't expect too much pushback, but that's okay if you have it. Because those of us who are Black, you're going to get my point, especially of my lineage, okay? I had a conversation with a young brother earlier by email that's about to join. And, you know, like I said, I don't encourage that. And this is going to really give you all the reasons why, because a lot of people have asked me that question. And I'm only worried about the people in my community as far as like explaining myself. But them folks, I don't owe them no explanation. Because like I put on the community tab, when I posted this broadcast, I'm going to explain why foundational Black Americans in particular don't owe this country any more of our bloodshed, okay? We're going to talk about old and new tonight, all right? And we're going to have some announcements to make as well. I'm going to try to encourage you all to, you know, help a sister in the community out that has a project going. We're going to wait till a few more people get in here before I put that up. But if you're so inclined and you care about the future and the education of Black children, it will be a chance to do a good deed if you so choose to. We'll get into that a little bit later here tonight. I'm going to wait till the numbers get up so as many people as possible can see it. We'll also post it on the community tab. Now, that's it. Let me go ahead and greet the esteemed ladies and gentlemen that are joining us over here tonight. I hope everybody's doing well. Let me scroll and see who I see. I see the good sister Sandra Evans in the building, my brother Diesel Mike, Patricia Jenkins, the wonderful and brilliant and very sweet and kind librarian, my good brother Bruce. What's going on? Oh, yes. I did, or I took down the original Caligula broadcast and I reposted it. A lot of you probably missed that. But if you go into the Children of the Chalk playlist, okay, it's in the playlist tab on this channel, you'll be able to catch that. I edited out the interruptions. There's going to be a part 2 of that, and we're going to get into Nero also over there. So don't think they stopped anything. So for those of you that are wondering where that's at, it's over there. We get that up to about 600, you know what I'm saying, views or what have you, we'll drop the next one. I dropped the impromptu at 8 o'clock. That was a bad time to drop it because everybody and mom was going live when I dropped that. But it's all good, though. It's in the playlist. And, you know, if you haven't checked out the Children of the Chalk playlist, might want to check that out. You'll find some very interesting content over there on them folks. We've given you present-day content on them, but we're going to start digging into the crates of their history over there. Just know a lot of content is coming for that series. I see my good brother Dad Miller TV in the house. The good sister Mrs. L in the building. Salute to you and your whole household. Blessings to you and your husband. Ferocious, the producers in here. What's going on, my brother? Let's see. I see Charles Gibson in here. Only Pamela's Way is joining us. Brother Seven Skills is in here. Derek Parker is in here. And I see Jason Ferreira. Salute and welcome to all of you and anyone that'll be joining us in attendance here tonight. So, family, with that said, now that I've greeted all of you, I hope everybody's doing well, by the way. I hope all your families are doing well. I got to take care of a bit of housekeeping here because I got to address something on the channel. Yeah, I got to do this every now and again. Y'all know we have to do this from time to time because there are a lot of new people that come over, but then there's just some people that just gonna test the water anyway. Now, let me explain something before I read this comment. I understand that today, when it comes to men, okay, particularly black men, that we're in a time period now where, people don't say what they mean and mean what they say. But let me tell you something, I'm not one of them guys. I am old school Gen X, retired ex-military. I say something, I mean what I say. I don't mean to the left of it, to the right of it, over it, or under it. I mean exactly what I tell you. So now, and I recognize this guy too, because he did some of these guys. Look, let me just say this clearly. I don't really have a problem with people that come from other sectors of YouTube. What I mean by that is there's different sectors of YouTube in case you're new to a YouTube world and you don't know that. But one thing that I require if you come over here to my platform, I have rules for my house. Okay, those of you who are regulars over here, you know what the rules are. You're definitely not going to disrespect me. You're not going to disrespect the moderators. You're not going to disrespect men. You're not going to disrespect women. This is a space where black men and black women, no matter what our lineages are, come together to learn, okay? To learn and to network. Now, the other spaces that you're a part of, if that's not what they do and they keep a bunch of foolishness going on, I suggest you go over there. I'm going to say it flat out because I recognize this guy from Manosphere Spaces. Dude, don't bring that over here. So, family, let me go ahead and read you this now. And I want some chat room participation because, trust me, we're going to get to the content we got to discuss over here. But I need to give this PSA, all right? Now, I want you to be the judge after I read this, and you tell me if I was too harsh or if he was just being disrespectful. Now, for a bit of context, you saw the stream where I had to go in on old Sweet Tune Scoon, okay, for him being reckless at the mouth on X. Got a lot of things straight in that broadcast across the board. This is where that comment was from, but you won't see it there now. We're going to get into that shortly. So let's read it. From Lord-Vast, quote, Jamaicans all over the world should be ashamed of themselves. These Jamaicans who live throughout the Western world that have the nerve to insult black people who live in the UK, US, Canada, France, Germany, etc., then sit there and let others colonize their native country are cowards. Okay. Now, before I read my response, family, for those of you that watch my stream in its entirety, and that's another thing that I'll get you out of here for. If you come over here and you make certain comments where I can tell you didn't watch the content, that'll be your last time coming. I don't play games over here on this channel. Now, family, y'all know that in that stream that I did, which is still up, and any other stream I've done on this channel, do I ever make blanket statements against all continental Africans or Caribbeans? Do I ever do that? Well, where my regulars at? Do I ever do that on any of my platforms? I make distinctions, okay? I said it several times in that broadcast, which lets me know he probably didn't watch it all the way through, and that's fine. But if you don't, you're not going to be making no comments. Because, see, one of the things about people's platforms, everybody can run theirs the way they want. My platforms, I don't believe in fostering ignorance, because ignorance, believe it or not, if it's not corrected to the point that it actually becomes informed intelligence, it goes on to become willful stupidity. And willful stupidity is dangerous. Let me tell you something my great-grandfather, rest his soul, told me before he passed. He said, son, and don't you ever forget it. He said, one of the most dangerous things in the world is a bunch of stupid people in the same place at the same time. Now, you're going to see why I'm saying what I'm saying here. Here's my response to him. I told him no, as I made clear several times in the stream, only the tether class of Jamaicans should be ashamed. Don't do that on my channel again. Now, before I go further into this, because we got to get this straight at the onset of this broadcast. Before I go further into this, family, did anything that I said when I replied to him, was that unclear in any type of way? Let me know. Because to me it's clear, but I need audience participation on this. Did anything that I said to him regarding letting him know where I was coming from, what I was talking about, and what not to do again, was that unclear? Let me know if it was. I really do. I'm not even being sarcastic or facetious. Was it not clear what I stated to him? Because I want to respond from the chat room with this. I want to make sure that we on the same page. Could I have, enunciated this or articulated a better way? I thought that was plain to me for any literate person reading, because we got to keep in mind some of our people are illiterate. Okay. So let me tell you what he went and done that really got him up out of here. Because see, I'll give you, you know what I'm saying, if you're new to the channel, what have you, I'll give you one. You know what I'm saying? But after I correct you about it, that's another thing. A lot of people in our community do not like to be corrected on something. Let me tell you something. When you're over here in this house, you're going to be corrected if you're wrong. If you don't like that, this is not the place for you. Okay? He came back and dude, let me tell you something. The comeback that he made, I ain't even put it up here because I just went over and got him up out of here. It will be back over here again, not on that account. But he gave me the reply, and this is something that is one of my pet peeves. If you want to piss me off and make sure I get you up out of here on any platform, do what he did. Now, it's not a verbatim quote, but he hit me, y'all, with the hood rat. I said what I said. Let me tell you something right now. You better really do your homework on what Gen Xers were like and what we still are like. Don't come over here, especially as no man, with the sassy hood rat replies. God damn it, if I tell you not to do something on my channel, again, that's exactly what the fuck I mean. Now, if you test me, I'm going to tell you something else my grandfather told me. Y'all know where we're going with this. There was a sport. My grandfather often told us, he said, listen up, son. Two grown people ain't got no business playing tennis. And I remember as a youngin', I was like, what you mean, granddad? What you mean by playing tennis? He said, son, two grown folks that got every bit of cognitive function and their right frame of mind don't have no business going back and forth. See, I don't do much talking. I just go ahead and solve the problem for you. So I'm letting you know now, if you're a new subscriber over here, got a problem with that, you might want to unsubscribe. Don't come back. For those that wasn't aware, now you are. I try to be as polite as I can, but one thing I will not tolerate is disrespect over here on this platform. I'm not going to tolerate you disrespecting all Jamaicans. When I made it clear I was talking about the tether class, I always have. Now, for those that don't know what a class is, I suggest you find the nearest Webster's dictionary and look that up. And if you're not capable of doing that, let me go ahead and be clear on this. If you're not capable of actual comprehension and you're not literate enough to read and understand things, you really don't need to be online typing nothing. You need to get your literacy skills up before you do that. Okay? This is the intelligence sector and the grown folk sector of YouTube. It's not the fun and games and jokes sector. We crack jokes from time to time. We're going to crack some here in a minute. But when it's time to be serious and learn, this is a classroom. I keep telling people that all the time. Anybody that's familiar with my content, this is a classroom. We'll have a joke or two here or there, but everything over here is for the purposes of teaching lessons to those who want to learn. Not that type of person. This is not where you belong, and you will not be here, okay? I'm letting all of you know now, if you ever do what he did, other words, let me tell you a good rule of thumb, not just with my platform, but with anybody's. If the host of any platform informs you of what his or her rules are, if you don't respect it, you can click off that channel, unsubscribe, don't come back. What you won't be doing with me, speaking for myself, what you won't be doing is being on my channel and then you gonna go against something that I said. See, let me make this further clear in case what I said still didn't cut it. I am not a foundational Black American freedman man that hates all continental Africans or Jamaicans. If that's your hang up, this ain't the place for you. I strongly advise you to keep that bullshit to yourself, because I'm specific when I call out what the problem is with any group of people. Just like we don't say all white people are bad. We say white supremacists. Those are the ones that we have a problem with, not the entire white community. Okay? Now, we say most because America has been this way for a long time, so intelligent people would have to say most, all right? So I'm trying to make sure I'm clear on this language here, because maybe a couple people don't get that. And, I've seen some people of our lineage that have that sentiment. I can't tell them how to think, but see, I'm a very well-traveled man, and I understand that the tether class that undermines us over here, they do not act like that in their home countries. fact of business, the reason why we say, I and others in New Black Media say, tell the class, is because the ones that are disrespectful over here, they had to flee their homelands because there was a problem over there. Okay? Now, it's not my fault if you're not well-traveled enough to understand the truth of what I just said. But one damn thing you better get through your head is, even if you can't read, you can hear, damn it. Don't bring this bullshit to my channel. You will not be allowed to disparage all of any group. You better make it specific who you talking about. If I don't do it, you don't do it, okay? Now, ladies and gentlemen, now that I've gotten that bit of housekeeping out the way, I'm going to ask the people that are in here, let me know by thumbs up in the chat, did I make myself unequivocally crystal ironclad clear? Did I? Because if not, I need to go back and make it so. I will wait for responses in the chat because, see, I got to get this straight. I don't play these kinds of games, all right? There's some good brothers and sisters that are continental Africans, Caribbeans, okay? All across the global black diaspora, even if you don't consider other people black, because I know a lot of people be on that, that's fine. But all across the global melanated diaspora, there are good people. Some of my best friends are of continental African lineage, Caribbean lineage. Some brothers and sisters are moderators in this chat room. Good people. I'm not going to let you disrespect all of anybody, especially when I lay out a broadcast and I'm very specific with who I'm talking about. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. I'm seeing the thumbs ups. I just want to make sure that I got that out the way. So from now on, any moderators in here, if you see that, somebody coming here with that, you already know what to do. You don't have to get my permission. Hit the ejecto seat on their asses. Now that we've gotten that out the way, all right, go ahead and take this down. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that that was a bit serious there, but now we're going to have to get to our sponsor here, okay? Got a good old sponsor here. I hadn't played it quite some time, probably about 2 or 3 streams ago, but it's been a minute since I brought it back. A lot of y'all seem to like this, so we're going to go ahead and get into this sponsor, and then we're going to get started with what we got to analyze here today.
President Trump, if you see this, please save us. I don't even see our American flag anymore. Biden's talking with some kind of crazy flag. This is America. This is our land. Please, President Trump, please, I hope you have a plan.
Love the flow. 69. Now it's time for new, believable people, and we must do it. If we don't control insiders, this will be over and over. To lead by an any big fat love, find common ground to hold the spread of lies, and we must do it. Big fat love, find common ground to hold the spread of lies, and any America first, America first, non-fatal. We want to build a much better, believable people, and we must do it non-fatal. Communication very much higher. America first. To lead by an any insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders. More of insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders. America first. Love the flow. 69. Now it's time for new, believable people, and we must do it. If we don't control insiders, this will be over and over. To lead by an any big fat love, find common ground to hold the spread of lies, and we must do it. Big fat love, find common ground to hold the spread of lies, and any America first, America first, non-fatal. We want to build a much better, believable people, and we must do it non-fatal. Communication very much higher. America first. To lead by an any insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders. More of Insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders. America first. Love the flow.
Please, I hope you have a plan.
Yeah, you know we had to get an orange man up here for the sponsor today. Yeah, they had to bring that classic back. I know a lot of y'all be dancing to that. I mean, it's a catchy tune, man. Listen, I got a question to ask you, okay? I got a question to ask y'all. How many of you, men or women, okay, in this chat room, how many of you would go and get the Trump A hairstyle? Okay, we call it the Trump A because I think that was V. Mosby or one of the sisters that came up with the Trump A. I was like, oh my God, that's funny. I'm gonna tell you, boy. I think I might be biased because it's my platform, but I'm just saying that over the course of many streams now, I honestly think I have the funniest chat room on YouTube. Those that are not over here, boy, they just don't understand. We would go look. I'm gonna warn y'all. For those of you on other platforms, please don't try to roast nobody in my chat room because I don't even have to say nothing. They gonna light your ass up. Y'all are funny, man. I mean, I know I keep it laughing, but y'all, boy, y'all are funny. Oh, I see my good sister, the lieutenant in here. Tam Chan, welcome, sister, welcome. Willie Tress is in here. I see you. I see you. Entree Jones in here. But yeah, Seven Scales, I see you, brother. Mongo Slade in the building. CRU Reality, I see you. Charlie X is in here. A couple more people that join in. Michael Williams. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Sonia Ferguson. I think I shout out my brother Diesel Mike. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, yeah, how many of y'all would get the Trump A though? Anybody gonna get the Trump A? Ladies, y'all gonna rock the Trump A? On Pamela, what about you? I'm just trying to see. You know, I'm just saying, man. You know, consistency. Y'all probably gonna put y'all little spin on it. You know, I'm just saying, man. Anyway. Oh man, salute to my good brother Hot Tub Tony in here, man. You know, but hey, family, I want to ask you for a favor. Okay, I started waiting till a few more people in here, but I think we got a handful of people in here. I would like to ask you to take a look at something because there's a sister in the community. She's in the chat room. She's actually trying to do something great ahead of time for the kids. You know, getting ready to before they go back to school here. So I want to show you something. All right, it's right here. Let me know if you can see this okay. Okay, give me a thumbs up. If not, I will enhance it further because I think this is very important. As you know, I keep telling y'all I'm one of the content creators where I mean what I say. And I tell you, if I know you got a particular skill set, you're a business owner, or if you're somebody that I know doing something important in the community, if I find out about it, I will take the time to highlight it on my platform. I'm not Hollywood like that. I tell y'all, you know, even when y'all be calling me king and all this other stuff, I'm like, hey, man, I'm just another soldier trying to do my part, man, for my people. So right here, what you see, everybody can see it okay. Okay, I'll wait for a couple more thumbs up because I want everybody to be able to see this. So I'm going to put the link in the chat room. I want y'all to take a look at it. And as you know, I don't recommend you nothing from nobody that I know is shysty or shady. If GBS recommend a link to you, you better believe that that person is legit, okay? It's a married sister, fact of business. I'm going to put her on blast because I like to give my people their flowers, the brothers and the sisters over here when I know you're doing good things in the community. The good sister, Mrs. L, is trying to do this project, okay? So y'all can see it. All right. This is a back-to-school book bag drive, okay? A book bag giveaway, rather. Let me read exactly what's on the flyer. And the date and time of it is going to be July 27th this year, from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern time, okay? It's going to be held at McBrayer Park, Central Avenue, Hampton, Georgia, zip code 30220, okay? Now, family, if you would like to take a look at that, I'm going to put the link in here. And hey, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't take everybody doing everything all at once. All it takes is just a little bit. Just a little bit. Everybody doing a little bit, okay? I'm going to put the link in here 3 times. I want to put it in here before the broadcast ends as well. I'm probably going to show it again at the end of the broadcast. So hopefully we'll have some more people in here. Now, I'll also put it on the community tab after the broadcast. Again, this is for the children because, hey, listen, man, you know, it's hard times out there. And, you know, for all the parents that's got little ones, the future of our people, hey, some people need a little bit of help. And, you know, this sister doing what her and her husband are doing what they can to try to help people out with school supplies, book bags, and etc. So if you would, be interested in doing that type of thing, hey, take a look at this sister's flyer here and take a look at that link in the description box. And whatever you do will be appreciated, okay? And I thank you very much in advance. Definitely I'm going to be contributing to it because I'm not going to tell y'all to do something that I wouldn't do, okay? So just letting you know ahead of time that this is one of the endeavors that we're going to be trying to work on. I want to get the sister as close to her goal as possible. And again, it don't take a whole lot. Don't be ashamed if what you give, that's all you can afford. Everybody doing a little adds up to a lot, okay? Don't ever underestimate your contributions when you're trying to help somebody in the community to do a good thing, all right? We're a mighty and powerful people. So I thank you in advance for anything that you do and for your time. And with that said, we're going to get into tonight's subject matter here. Now, let me go ahead and tell you something. This right here, it's kind of going to be hard for me to get through a lot of it, but I think that, I was always taught that when you have knowledge of a certain thing and when you know something, that if you just sit there and don't say anything about it, then that makes you somewhat partially responsible for what goes on. So this is a subject that, is very important to me. It's a subject that's very important right now to Black parents because family, we got to be honest about something. And as I said before, I didn't mean to put that banner there. Let me get that down. I want y'all to see this. As I said before on the last broadcast, we all know that in America here, the Congress has passed that defense bill, which automatically registers men between 18 and 26 for the draft. Again, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I'm a straight shooter, okay? And there's no reason for me to sit here and act like this is not something that parents would be concerned about if you have young men, children, your sons, nieces, nephews or what have you. They'll probably be trying to put the women in their necks. I wouldn't be surprised. But if you have, sons, nephews, little cousins or what have you, little brothers, in between 18 to 26, yes, I can understand why this is a concern for you. Be honest, this is not a good time. I don't give a damn, white supremacists, how mad you get. I do not care. I'm just going to say it again. I'm talking to my people, Black America. This is not a good time to be going into any branch of the armed service, in my opinion, because of all the things that are going on the geopolitical level. Basically, you're looking at a situation with Russia and Ukraine. Now, for those of you that have been on this channel, I've gone into extensive detail on that. And I've, laid out exactly what the causes of it are and why it all got started. But nonetheless, here we are right here with this automated registering of the draft. And this is not, this is something, man, that, I'm just going to put it bluntly. They only do stuff like this because they know that right now with this generation, and when I say this generation, I'm basically talking about primarily Gen Z, you know what I'm saying? Because that's who this is really going to be targeting here. They know they're not for that. They're not into all this, going to fight for no reason. And then when you look at this generation of young people in Gen Z, no disrespect to those of you in Gen Z, but they're not really built for that. And they shouldn't be, especially in Black America. I'll let everybody else speak up for their own youth, but for the future of our people, I'm going to speak up. And the future of our people are the youth, okay? They're not built for that because, one, if you look at how society is now, we're in the most integrated society we've ever seen, but we're also into the most modern, convenient era we've ever seen. Again, this is not to disparage Gen Z. I love y'all to life. This is why I'm saying what I'm saying. These kids, are not built to be going to fight nobody's wars, nor should they if they're of our lineage, okay? They shouldn't. We've given enough blood to this country, okay? We fought in every war it's ever had. We've been the most loyal patriots to this country, hence what I have on the thumbnail, and I'm going to prove that here tonight. And you all know that I covered the gruesome murder of our young brother, Roger Forson there. You remember that. See, the thing about history when you pay attention to it, and we're going to get into some of that here tonight, they were lynching our ancestors even after they came home for fighting for this nation. And if you still can't get respect after you do that, there's really no higher honor you could give the nation, and there's no other greater sign of respect and honor that you could give anybody than to put your life on the line for a particular cause. Okay, so for me, being that they have not paid us reparations for American chattel slavery, being for all the terrorism that they inflicted upon us during Jim Crow and is still ongoing, being that they leapfrog Asian Americans with a anti-black hate crime bill, and we're still being treated as third, fourth, fifth class citizens. When we built this America, there was no America to come to until we built it. You damn right I'm not going to encourage any young black people, no matter what I've done in my life, to join any branch of the military. I refuse to do it. I refuse to do it. If you ask me for information or advice, I will give you what I can and, wish you well with that. But I'm also going to tell you, do not try to make a career of that at this time, because, see, on the world stage, I'm going to be honest with you, it's about to get ugly. As long as this senile, degenerate president is in office here, he is a national security threat. Jim Crow Joe Biden. Okay, he not going to send his little cokehead son, Hunter Biden, over there. First of all, he would be useless to any military, little drug addict. But he's not going to send his son over there. And most of these people that pass this bill, I'm going to be blunt about this. Like I said, this is not going to be a broadcast that white America's going to like. Don't give two shits about that. They're not going to, none of the members of Congress that's white on either side of the aisle, Republican or Democrat, they're not going to send their sons and daughters, even their daughters. They definitely not going to even send them in the theater, okay? And if they do get anywhere close to any type of active theater, it'll be an administrative job far away from the front lines. I'm telling you what I've seen over the years, not what I think, all right? They're not going to do that. Nobody in the Senate, none of them. Oh, they're going to make sure, see, this right here, this is for our kids. You go in there and we put you and put your lives in danger, okay? And yes, there's others besides, Black America, but I'm primarily concerned about our people. Again, I'll let others advocate for their own. Nobody advocates for us, so that's what my job is with my platform. You need to understand that besides the Ukraine-Russia conflict, and I don't think I really need to go into detail about it again, it's kind of a holdover from a get back from the Cuban Missile Crisis. Again, Putin was not in office when that took place. And a lot of these old white supremacists over here hold a grudge. So now they're trying to surround Russia with Eastern European NATO nations, which is right on Putin's doorstep. Of course, he considers that a national security threat. He ain't having it, okay? Russia is a nuclear power. They have been conducting war games with China for the last couple of years, and they actually have a standing military agreement that if either of them gets into a hot conflict and a live conflict with America, that they will support each other militarily, land, sea, and air, okay? And North Korea's in the mix also. There's another problem, though. This is why I'm not encouraging young men, black men and women, to go into the service now. Even though we're over here in America and we're separated by water, a lot of times the detriment to that, it places Americans in a bubble where if you're not the type of person that places any type of value on being geopolitically informed about what's going on the world stage, you're ignorant of it. And I'm not saying ignorant as far as stupid. That's two different things. When you're ignorant of something, you just don't know about it. Understand that no matter what you think of continental Africa, Africa is the most mineral-rich continent on the planet. There's going to be a conflict over that from the Western powers and Russia and China, because both of those are rapidly trying to neo-colonize Africa. Well, not trying, they are, with depth diplomacy and a lot of other different underhanded strategies. If you don't know what depth diplomacy is, that's lending a nation money, more money than they can pay back with high interest. And then when they default on it, you get control of their seaports, their airports, their power companies, their mines, et cetera, okay? And those are the money makers of a nation. And see, this is why those bootlicks over there in the African nations are doing the youth such a disservice. They're selling their birthright to get a few dollars in their pockets. I mean, basically what that is. And see, when you see our foreign aid money go over there, let me put America in the West over in it too. The so-called foreign aid is puppet bribe money, okay? That's what that is. And see, these old degenerate bootlicks, those puppet leaders in Africa, the ones that it applies to, because there's only a handful of them, like the brother Ibrahim Traore that's saying, hell no, get the fuck out of my nation. God bless that brother and his military alliances with Mali, Niger, and Malawi, I think. and anybody else to get them white supremacists out the mix. I hope he's successful in making his country what he wants it to be. Young brother is only 31 years old. I think he's the youngest world leader on the stage right now, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, there's going to be a new scramble for Africa because basically, if you know the history on the Berlin Conference, you're looking at a modern day version of it right now. Instead of them taking things by force, they're finessing their way into getting control of those resources over there. Because think about it. The phone that you're using, laptop I'm on right now, this microphone, all these electronics, many other things. Where you think the lion's share of the minerals come from for these things? They come from Africa, okay? Now, if you add also Taiwan in the mix, and for those of you that don't know about Taiwan, that is the place that is the chief headquarters worldwide of semiconductors, which you also need in complex electronic equipment. Basically, what we're looking at now, and you know these white supremacists, hey, if they can't finesse you out of it, they've been doing it for years, then they'll try to debo you out of it, okay? Basically, what you're looking at now, you got really three main powers, but the BRICS thing is joining together other nations to counter NATO, basically, and the American currency system. But what you're looking at now is three main powers, basically, struggling to control the resources of the world. America, China, and Russia, okay? So right now, and I can't get too deep into this, but I just want to make sure you understand my concern for this, because a lot of you asked me to speak on this, and I said when I do, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. A lot of the alphabet agencies right now are trying to undermine Russia and China's military alliances, but see, here's the problem with what they're trying to do. And I don't care if they get angry if I say this or what have you, I have to say it. Russia and China, what they did what I want to see Black America do within ourselves. Now, what do I mean by that? They put their past differences aside and said, okay, whatever we have that are differences, we got to cast this aside and deal with this greater threat, the Western powers, primarily America and the UK. So what do we have as far as intel sharing on the way they've infiltrated our nations, as far as placing spies over there, etc.? They've compared notes on that, long and the short of it. The old way that the alphabet agencies were using to get intel from them, that's not going to work anymore. In other words, they're hip to the game, okay? So now the only successful way is cyber warfare. And that's been going on between all three of the countries that I've mentioned, all right? Because it's kind of become too risky to insert anybody in there that, you know, is from here. It's even gotten so bad to the point now that if you thinking you're going to send somebody over there that's white and infiltrate Russia, or if you're thinking that you're going to send somebody that's Chinese American over there and have them working as a double agent, oh no, that's a fool's errand. I feel sorry for any idiot that takes that up because they offered you whatever, you're not going to live to see it. You trust me on that. I know what I'm talking about. And see, the other wild card is, I'm going to throw this out here and I'm going to move on from it because they'll get antsy when you start talking about this. But again, I know what I'm talking about and I need to make it clear to my audience. Remember Edward Snowden? Who remembers him? Do you remember where he fled to? Okay, you remember where he fled to? First, he fled to Russia. Now, let me tell you something. Being that they knew who he was when he got there, a part of that deal was, hey, you got these files. Let me see some. Then we'll talk about helping you out. And he did. Okay. Then he moved from there, you know what I'm saying, to China. All right. Now, who knows where he is now? If he's smart, he will never show his face, you know, on American soil again. And he will not go to any country where they have an extradition treaty with America because he's a dead man walking. Okay. Basically, he gave up a lot of game that's going to help them on the world stage today. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And usually when they start playing around, talking about draft, this, that, they know it's going to be high casualties. I'll say it again. If I had my way, the old bastards that want to send young men and women off to war, they would have to suit up and bring their asses over there. Since they say they love the troops so much, they say they love us so much, right? But then you need to suit up and get on over there. That's my thoughts on that. So I just wanted to get that out the way. But ladies and gentlemen, we're not done yet because I'm going to further make the case for why our people don't owe them anything else. Salute to the good sister, Mrs. L, for the cash out. Thank you very much, my sister. And see, here's the thing. this case that I'm about to make, if they take this off YouTube, I'm definitely going to put it on Rumble, Patreon, so that you can access it, because I think this is going to be one of the most important broadcasts I've ever done. Okay? And to answer the question, Ms. L had, she said, my question is, have the Africans studied their history? Why is this happening again? That's a very good question, sister. Basically what it is, you got it. This is what's going on. Just like we got the sellouts, and I'll use the example of the Congressional Black Caucus, I call them that. Those are our sellouts over here. Well, Africa has their own sellouts, and it's mostly that older generation. And it's funny how the similarities are with that. It's that older generation that's in power that's selling out the African youth, that if a lot of y'all had an opportunity to travel, they're nothing like the tethers over here. They're very hospitable towards us. I mean, I get it. I know what the tether class has done over here, put a bad taste in people's mouth, but I'm going to have to do that X space where I introduce you to some of the brothers and sisters that I know from the continent and Caribbean that are solid people. I definitely got to holler at my good brother, Richard Sudan. That's one of my good friends over there in the UK. I'm going to have to get with him and try to put that together. Only thing about it is when you're in different countries, the time zone. So we'll work it out, because I want y'all to be able to hear what the writers sound like, so some of you won't be like, man, I hate all the Africans. I hate all the Caribbeans. Like, no. If you judging all of the Caribbean and African people out these tethers, you're really making a big mistake as far as like the people that are nothing like that. But the youth over there, they're the ones that want change, okay? If you look at the SARS incident that happened in Nigeria, all right, they tried to stand up and do what we did, but see, over there in them African nations, man, it's a cold game, bro. That hurt my heart. I'm going to be honest with you, man. We have issues with our cousins in the diaspora. But that hurt my heart to see that many young people slaughtered by the government like that, because they were protesting police brutality and they were inspired by the George Floyd uprisings. But, you know, if you're not familiar with that, just look it up, because that really gets to me talking about that. One of the things that you all know that I hate to see or hear about is people that haven't reached my age expiring before their time. So, yeah, that's rough, man. So I can understand why they leave, you know, trying to get things straightened out. But the only thing I can say to them is get together in numbers, get your paper together, and, you know, you're going to have to go back at some point and fight to have the nations that you want. But getting back to our situation here, family, I want y'all to pay close attention to what I'm about to show you. I'm going to be stopping it and, you know, breaking things down so that if there's any questions, feel free to ask, and I'm going to be looking in the chat. We're going to get those questions answered, and I hope everybody's able to learn from this. Let's get started.
One of the service members killed, Sergeant William Jerome Rivers, had ties to New Jersey. Fox 5's Michelle Ross joins us live in studio with more on the soldiers who were killed and what experts are saying about whether this attack will escalate the conflict in the region. Michelle.
That's right, Steve and Natasha. Since the Israel-Hamas war began on October 7th, there have been more than 150 attacks on American military installations by Iranian-backed militias in Syria and Iraq. Sunday's attack, though, was the first to target American troops in Jordan, and the first with American troops killed. The 3 American troops who were killed in an overnight drone strike at a U.S. military outpost in Jordan have been identified.
Salute to the good brother Hot Tub Tony for the cash out. Thank you very much, my brother. So now, family, I'm going to pause this right here, and you'll see why this is going to be kind of tough for me to get through this, but I got to do it because I'm not really hearing anybody else say this. So if you don't see anybody else saying anything about it, then it falls on you. Especially with my background, it falls upon me to talk about this. I remember when this happened, and I was going to report on it, but it just, you know, they were from Georgia, especially too young. I hated that any of them lost their lives, even the Sergeant William Jerome Rivers, 46 years old. He was out of Carrollton, Georgia. Then you see Specialist Kennedy Layden Sanders. She was only 24 years old, man. Look at the young sister's face. She was out of Waycross. That's down in southern Georgia, if you're not familiar with that. Then you had Specialist Brianna Alexandria Moffitt. She was only 23. She was out of Savannah. Family, you got to understand, I will never, ever get in front of any young Black American and tell them, hey, go put on any uniform in this service. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I'll take it. It is what it is. When you become an older person and you've learned from experience with things, especially with the geopolitical climate I just described, the only way I could stand in front of a young black person or any black person and say, yeah, go ahead and join any branch of service right now, it would be if I didn't love my people. And I love my people before anything that the dominant society has going on, okay? So this is going to be part of why I'm telling you we don't owe this country any more blood. Any bloodshed should be for the sake of our people. Because, see, even after we put these uniforms on, no matter whether it's in the service or law enforcement, we still don't get the respect that we are long overdue to have as foundational Black American freedmen in the country, okay? So I'm gonna let this report play, and we're not done yet breaking this thing down, because see, I'm gonna make my case here tonight. And when it gets to the portion of the broadcast for you sisters, I really want you to hear what your brother's saying, because see, I'm gonna make myself very clear on this. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on that, why I really don't encourage you all to join up. You will come out better getting your CDL, going to the skilled trades, something like that. I get it. A lot of you want to go for the college money. A lot of you, probably want to go and travel to see the world, things of that nature. But in this climate, like I said, it would be irresponsible of me to not try to discourage you from doing that with facts. And we're going to lay out those facts here tonight. Let's let it continue.
46-year-old Sergeant William Rivers of Carrollton, Georgia, 24-year-old Specialist Kennedy Sanders of Waycross, Georgia, and 23-year-old Specialist Brianna Moffitt of Savannah, Georgia.
No Blue Star family ever wants to become a Gold Star family. And sadly, there are now 3 more families on that roster.
The drone strike happened at a U.S. post known as Tower 22, an army base in Jordan near the Syrian border. The enemy drone was mistaken for an American drone, expected to return to the base at the same time. Former senior U.S. counterterrorism official Javed Ali explaining how this could have happened in an interview on the 6 o'clock news.
It's not surprising that it got mistaken for a friendly drone, because the U.S. military is also flying these surveillance drones where we have our troops stationed, and it could have been launched at night too, making the visual observation even harder. And these drones are not like conventional military aircraft. They don't have insignia of the government that's flying them.
Officials pointing fingers at Iran-backed militant groups in Syria and Iraq. The Iranian government denies any involvement, saying resistance groups act on their own. Resistance groups across the region do not take orders from the Islamic Republic of Iran. The U.S. says it does not seek another war or seek to escalate conflict in the region.
But we will absolutely do what is required to protect ourselves, to continue that mission, and to respond appropriately to these attacks.
And of course, Kirby said he would not share details, but did say that the president met twice with his national security team and is weighing the options. Steve?
Very well. All right. Thanks, Michelle.
Yeah, and you see, the mainstream media had to go and report that bold-faced lie and the lying weasel. And let me tell you something right now. One of the most psychotic and psychopathic liars on the planet is a White House press secretary. They got the total line until whatever lie people tell them to say. As you've seen with Karine Jean-Pierre, she gets up lying all the time. Never trust anybody that was a damn White House press secretary. They are professional liars of the highest caliber, okay? All of my former veterans, I think y'all would back me up on that. But the lie that they told, talking about, they don't want to get into another war, and they had that senile demon, and they shouted that report, Jim Crow Joe Biden, the biggest national security threat we've seen so far in this country. And remember what I told y'all about being the first black in a position? Lloyd Austin there, the Secretary of Defense, they got him. See, let me break this down. They got Lloyd Austin up there, Secretary of Defense, because right now on the world stage, they're about to do a lot of reckless shit that might backfire. So when it does, you got to start looking ahead of this. And I'm not wishing none of this to happen, but I would be a fool not to tell you what I know. Then when all of this backfires and it goes left, oh, see, that nigga was in office. Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they're going to be saying. Look, it was a nigga in office. And see, a lot of times them folks trying to push you into any position like that, or even on your jobs, you got the question like, wait a minute, why now? You ain't never had a black person in this position. See, what they're doing is when they know they're about to do something, but they don't want any white hands to have to take the blame for that, they put a nigga in charge. And see, a buck dancing Sambo, they be thinking, oh, these white folks love me. I done made it. Nah, nigga, you finna be the fall flunky. That's what you finna be. And mark my words, I don't even want to say this. if things don't go according to plan, I'll say it that way, because I do understand the power words. If things don't go according to plan, which is a high likelihood it may not, they want a black person to be to blame. Okay, that's just the long and the short of it with that. All right. So now we're gonna get further into me making my case here, because see, I'm gonna make it hard for anybody in Black America to argue with me about that. I understand a lot of you from different branches of the service may feel differently. But hopefully after tonight, you'll consider my words and understand why I'm saying that, primarily that I'm not going to encourage black youth to join no branch of the service at this particular juncture and on the world stage. So I want y'all to pay attention to what we're about to review next, because this one right here, man, we getting into some territory that a lot of people really don't talk about, but I have to talk about it. Let's get into it.
Hey y'all, so I just want to get on here real quick and say that, like, if something happened to me, if just real blunt and honest with, if I end up dead, if I end up missing or something like that, just know somebody did it. And I just want to get out here and put something out, because I know how the media, I know how my job, being in the military, will paint these false narratives. And I'm going to do more talking about it. I'm trying to post a video now, but I just need something quick put out there, so that way people know, like, if it was self-inflicted or something like that, my family would know, my friends would know. So if nothing comes from them or nothing like that, I just want to say somebody did it. I don't know what's going to happen, but for some reason I feel like my days, something is just telling me my days are limited, and I don't know how it could be. I don't know if it's, things get heavy, man, and I'm not going to lie, like, things are perfect for me. Like, it could be. And this is not me trying to come on here and tell y'all that I'm going to be dead the next day. I don't know, but I know those people who do end up dead, they wish they would have put something out. They wish they could have told their truth before, they left this earth and left it to people. Now, like I said, I'm trying to make a video.
Now, I'm going to pause it right here. Family, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to make some enemies. That's okay, because I'm speaking from the heart on this, and I care about my people. Say this to you: if you are a foundational Black American freedman woman, you're a non-FBA woman, okay? So you're not of my lineage, still a black person, and I still care about you all the same. Salute to the good brother Project Leroy for the cash out. Thank you. We'll make a statement. It's not going to be popular. You're going to call me a male chauvinist and everything but a child of God. That's cool. I'll take that. Sisters, you don't belong in the military. You don't. You don't. I know you like, oh, you can't say that. We can do what men can do. No, you don't. Because see, look, let me say this to all black people before I get into that. You're a black person now on the sound of this microphone, and you're in the military. You understand that the other black people in your unit, that's your new family, okay? I told a young brother this earlier that was asking my advice on some things. He's about to go in to a branch of the military. I won't put his business out there unless he says that's okay. He's probably listening. But that's going to be your new family, okay? Y'all going to have each other's backs. So I'm not going to sit here and act like just because you joined the military, there's no such thing as white supremacy in there. I would be the biggest liar on the planet if I told you that. It wasn't the case back when I was in, even though I earned a lot of respect due to the particular branch I was in and what I was doing because of my expertise. But I'm not going to act like that would be everybody's outlook or scenario in any branch of the United States military today, okay? Now, let me get back to why I'm saying I don't want our women joining no branch of the military or law enforcement. When you go into any branch of the service, especially if it's not, and I'm not going to make the Air Force sound like it don't have its problems, because if you are going to be a sister and you're going in, not that I'm saying I want you to, Air Force, and if you were a man, I would say the Navy next because of the two best benefits, but I would never encourage no sister to join the Navy either, even though that's, where I was. Y'all know what particular special warfare operator unit I was with. I'm not going to try to brag on that or make it sound glorious because I'm trying to make a point here. Sisters, you don't belong there because the white boys are degenerates in there. They are. Not going to say all, but enough to say a majority. A lot of them, and we're going to get into me proving that in case somebody tries to argue with that, because when I say I'm going to make a case for something, that's exactly what I do. I'm going to show you why I'm saying it. You hear this sister here? She's nervous. She's afraid. She's scared. This was like a couple years back. I think about 2 years ago. When I saw this, I said, you know what? I need to go ahead and speak on this. You know, and I did try to reach out to the sister at the time, but I couldn't get in contact with her. So I don't know if she's okay today or not. But sometimes, ladies, see, this is why I say people that lie to women and tell you that you can do everything men can do, especially with this society today, they don't give two shits about you. Do you hear me? Black American women, no matter what age range you are, even if you don't want to hear that, even if you're a sister that's a retired veteran, please let me get this out and understand where your brother's coming from, because you know I'm not lying. They don't even respect white women in the military. You understand me? Now, you think about America for a black person. That does not change when you go into the military, especially as a woman. The only easier time you'll have of it as a man is they know that, okay, they're going to have to physically fight you. You understand? If they get too far out of line with that shit. But you women, you sitting ducks, man. I'm not saying that to make you sound helpless or disrespect you. I'm telling you that this sister experienced treatment in there, and she's going to go on explaining it. That make her have to make a video talking about she fears for her life. She's not the only one, and we're going to prove that here tonight, okay? She's not the only one. See what it is? A lot of people, when it comes to any branch of the service, they'll glamorize it. Oh, they're going to tell you about all the benefits, the college tuition, this, that, the third, but they don't tell you the other side of the shit, the reality is going to be, and the difference for the genders once you go in, because it's completely different, okay? It's completely different. It's not a cakewalk for the guys either, but definitely for Black American women, no. This isn't where you belong. And see, this is what really chills me to my core. I hate to see our sisters get into any situation where you find out, even if somebody tried to tell you that, hey, nah, sis, take another route. Nah, I'm going to do what I want to do. Then you get in a situation where you like, damn, that's what that brother or sister was trying to tell me. I really hate that I don't know what happened to the sister. If any of you in here know how this turned out, if you recognize the sister, let me know. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, you know, this is a bad spot for a sister to be in, all right? This is a bad spot for a sister to be in. And, like, see, I got to be measured with certain words on YouTube, but I'm just going to tell you straight up. If you're a brother in any branch of the service and you actually give a damn about your people, you know we have to look out for the sisters if we're around. We have to, okay? We have to. Because you already know a lot of white boys talking how they think and see, I got to go here. I got to go here. Today, when they're promoting Sexy Red, Suki Hana, etc., you got to understand how the young white boys coming in view all black women. I know all you sisters don't fit that description, but listen to what your brother's saying. You don't fit it, but in their mind, that's how they see all black women. Let me take it further about why I'm not encouraging sisters in particular to join any branch of the military. I respect our women. I understand how wonderful and phenomenal you are, and I understand how brilliant you are. Here's the problem with that. Once you start going up in the ranks in the military, especially if you get above Becky will set you up, those degenerates, to harm you. And we're going to get into what I'm saying about that a little bit later here. It's probably going to be a hard broadcast for a lot of people to hear because a lot of people don't just say this the way I'm going to say it, but I have an obligation to speak the truth. You think about how Becky hates on you in corporate America. It's far more dangerous in the military, okay, for you. If you're an exceptional sister and you're good at what you do not have, I'm going to say it again, you do not have any white friends in the military. I know some of you going to try to argue that. No, you don't. No, you don't, sisters. Not you. No, you don't. Let me be clear. I'm cool with some of the people in my unit that I serve with. Some of them are white guys, but I understand that when I came in, that was more based on respect for me being able to be exceptional at the particular job I had. I was petty officer first class. Before that, I was an ET1, electronics technician first class. And I was very good at navigating and any type of combat strategy planning, land, sea, and air. I could do it all, okay? And I killed a lot of people alive, so they give you a begrudging respect. And then some of them genuinely respected me too because of certain things and decisions that I made. I was one of the favorite petty officers, because I was one that was more compassionate towards the people that were under my command, which would be the junior enlisted personnel. Okay, if you're a non-commissioned officer up to that rank. All right. So, I always thought about it like, hey, man, they got parents just like I got, and they want to see them come back home alive and well. All right. And I accomplished that. Okay. Nobody really was lost under my watch anytime that we were deployed to do the things that we were doing. Okay. Not really going to get into all that. I can't get into a lot of that on YouTube, but you get my point. Sisters, you don't have no white friends in there. Okay. Even the sisters that you were in there, and I got to go here. You think the tether class over here is bad outside? Man, you ain't seen nothing yet till you a sister in the military and you come across, and I got to do this because I need to tell the whole truth. You ain't seen nothing till you come across one of them tether winches that's crazy for white boys. She not your friend. Nope. She'll set you up just like Becky if you start going up the chain of command or doing better than her or even just getting noticed, okay? So I'm going to be honest about this, but I've said enough. I'm going to let the sister get back to speaking, and I will be going back into further detail because, see, somebody got to put this truth out here. Let's let it continue.
Of everything, just saying what's, then they can paint whatever picture they want, and people don't know my side of the story. So I'm going to make a video, but just keep me in y'all prayers, and just know that
I told y'all it was only a matter of time. They put out AWOL. They just seen me less than 24 hours ago. They talked to me today. They put out AWOL. I just want y'all to see what's going on.
Let me pause this and go in and give you some context because I'm aware that not everybody is familiar with military terminology and lingo. AWOL stands for absent without leave. Okay, so let me tell you what's going on here, and I'm gonna let the sister get back to explaining this. But see, I had to put this together this way so that you all understand that when I say what I say, I'm not just saying it out of a mere personal bias. I'm trying to tell you from things that I've seen and that I know, and I'm using recent examples to get the point across. When she put that video out, and probably some Becky or the rest of them saw that. Oh, you that don't think that protected you because you said something. Sure, in the worst case scenario, heaven forbid, if something happened to you, there would be some type of record of it. If you send a copy to your family, what have you. But when you do that and you start making waves, so to speak, or speaking about problems that's going on, you being harassed or whatever the case may be, now you marked. I didn't finna start fucking with you. Okay. And see, like she said, they had just seen her a short time ago before they put that AWOL out. They letting her know that, yeah, we see you little niggers. I'm telling you, this is how they think. This is how they think. Putting on that uniform does not gain you them folks respect. Don't you ever think that. And I'm not going to lie to you as if it will, okay? Don't you ever think that. So I want y'all to see what she's having to go through here when they put that out, because I understand that she's upset, but I doubt the sister was trying to go AWOL. You know what I'm saying? I doubt it, but I want y'all to listen to this because she's going to show you here her experience. And I'm glad she had the wherewithal to record this, because if I just came on here saying this, there'll be a lot of people, oh, GBS, you just talking, you don't know what you're talking about. So I'm going to get back to it, and I want y'all to pay attention to what this sister is saying.
Good. So they have me. No, nobody told me nothing was going on. All these people here for me.
Y'all, at this point, I honestly think these people was probably trying to kill me or something. Like, I don't know. They won't leave me alone.
I just feel like it's necessary. My name's Sergeant Tom.
So now, that's one sister. We got another account because, see, this is more common than y'all think. And again, I'm not saying this to belittle sisters. I'm not trying to put you down. You can call me a chauvinist or whatever. I stand by it. Our women do not belong in their military at all. I don't want no young black people in there, but especially not you women. You're not built for the harassment that you may have to deal with should them folks decide to target you, okay? And this is what they'll do. They'll target you off base as well, as you saw that previous sister's account, all right? So now we got another sister here in the military, okay, in the Army. She's about to go into detail about her situation. Now, before I let this play, boy, it's going to be hard to say this. before I let this play, she was the last sister you heard speaking. She was not out, out of pocket or reaching when she said, "I feel like these people are trying to kill me," because these motherfuckers will do it if they can get away with it. And see, this is why I'm saying to the brothers in here, in case there's anybody that's enlisted now, there's a brother that's listening. I don't care what branch of the military it is. If you in there, man, you got to look out for the sisters. You got to pull them to the side and have conversations with them about things. And see, this is why I hate when our youth, very young, join the service, because you hadn't even become acclimated to life in the civilian world. But here you are finna jump in here. That's a whole nother beast, a whole nother animal. And when you're dealing with sisters, I know a lot of y'all think you're tough and you can deal with anything. Let me tell you something, military life is not for the average person. It's going to be a lot you're going to have to deal with. Your feelings don't mean 2 dead flies in there to no damn body. You hear me? Now, you might see Becky get a little special treatment here or there. I'm going to be blunt with this. I'm going to really piss them off. The Beckys that you see that get the special treatment, she fought with her mouth game, okay? Yeah. With the white boys and the commissioned officers. That's how Becky get her special treatment. You're not going to get that, even if you try to do what she do. In fact, I'm going to be all the way blunt with it. I know this is somewhat vulgar, but I got to say what I'm going to say. If you think you're going to be smart and get in there and say, well, okay, I'll do what Becky did with Brad and surely I'll get the same treatment. No, that's going to place you in danger. Okay, and I'm not making that claim on any of these sisters that you hear speaking. I'm just throwing it out here for the smart asses, because it's always the smart asses. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm cool with these white boys. No, the fuck you're not. What you're going to do is, if you ain't go that route, you're going to be known as a donut, a pass around. Everybody got a turn. And they really not going to respect you then. We're going to get into what I'm talking about that, though, because, see, a lot of times I know when men try to tell you something, especially black men, they go in one end out the other. We don't know what we're talking about. You got it all figured out. But I'm telling you, this is a 20-year combat vet. We're talking to you, a retired one. When I listen, and I'm speaking on this subject, you should choose to understand or take into account what I'm saying, because I'm not just saying it for shits and giggles. I want y'all to listen to what this sister is going to tell you here. And this is going to further make my case about why I absolutely do not want any black American women or non-FBA black women joining any branch of the military.
I'm in 21st TSC. If I end up dead, I'm not suicidal. I don't have no beef with nobody. They can't frame that. They're nothing. I'm a perfectly normal individual, and I feel like they're trying to kill me. The girl that was in V's body that just got murdered by her own people in her own unit, scary. And she was an MP, and then she was just on the phone with her family a week before saying that I don't feel comfortable, I don't trust my leadership. I've been saying that for months. No one's taking me serious. I've talked to everybody I could possibly talk to. No one's helping me. They keep saying, oh, I see what's wrong. You know, they're finding the fault in what people are doing, but they're not holding them accountable. So therefore, they keep targeting me, messing with me. And I just want to leave safely. I don't want to end up dead here in Germany. I have bad anxiety. I can't even fucking sleep because I feel like since my key's been missing from the downstairs master box, that someone's going to try to come in here. I don't feel safe. And I've been saying this. So I'm putting this on my TikTok for record just in case I end up, I'm so serious. Please do not take this lightly. Just in case I'm not suicidal. I don't have beef with nobody. I've been talking about my leadership, feeling unsafe, the stuff they've been doing to me for months. No one's taking me serious. So I'm putting this on here.
Now, I know that was hard to hear, but again, I'm including this into this broadcast tonight to make my case about why I do not want you sisters joining the military. I know that that's going to fall on deaf ears with some, but I would suggest to you skilled trades. I would rather you go to college and get a worthless degree, although I wouldn't want to suggest you do that, but I would rather you do that and be safe and put yourself in that type of situation where you fall away from home, bunch of white supremacists you surrounded by, especially if it ain't no brothers around. Because see, let's be clear. One thing I will tell you, in any branch of the service, and if my brother Kermit S. Wingfield is in here, he will definitely attest to this. They get some act right around the brothers because they know we ain't gonna let you do nothing. Most of us has got some respect. Especially those of us that come from the South, no matter what branch we join, we're going to always look out for the sisters, okay? We ain't going to let you do nothing. They don't make certain types of jokes. And see, that's another thing, ladies. If you in a branch of the service and you in a unit that ain't too many of your people around, they start making them little vulgar sexual jokes, that's not safe for you. That's not. And I'm telling you this because their own women are sexually assaulted in the military, and they really don't take that serious. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I mean, the only way they'll take it serious is if it just gets so bad and it's some proof or what have you. And, you know, be honest with you, let me just keep it all the way a buck. You're really not going to get anything done about it unless you connected to some higher ups that's really got your back. And that's few and far in between for black folks to have it like that. All right. Or if you just happen to run across one of the white people that's actually got some type of morality and sense, which is also few and far between, and they'll do what they can to help you. But here's the problem with that. If they decide to do that and try to help you out, they putting their whole military career on the line. They will basically have to be ready to get up out of there because their life will be in danger. See, you better understand something about racism and white supremacy. These systems that we talk about, myself and others in New Black Media, these systems are no joke. If you go out cold and violate them sisters, man, they will kill their own people about that, especially for helping one of us. And see, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. I don't take any joy in saying it, but I'm saying it so you sisters understand that you're the most hated target in the system of white supremacy. Why? Because you are the gateways to new life for our people, okay? Yes, they hate us all as black people, but they really hate you because in their minds, they look at you just like breeding pests. Don't believe me? Look at the works of white supremacists. Go on back to what Margaret Sanger said. You think these people have changed their tune? Why you think they got Planned Parenthood all over the place? They agree with that assessment. You understand? I just want you to understand why I'm telling you that I don't want you joining any branch of the military, especially if you're a sister. Okay? And brothers, whatever branch you in, please take to heart my words. I already know the good brothers that's in the service. Y'all do this anyway, but if you're not aware of this, please look out for the sisters, man. Make sure y'all looking out for each other. You see something, man, right, man, put a bug in their ear. You know what I'm saying? Just try to have each other's back because you're going to be each other's new family in there, okay? And for God's sake, even though it does happen, let me make this clear. I'm going to say it yet again because I already said it once. If you're a sister in the military, that is not the place to practice thigh karate because once you get a bad reputation, especially amongst them white boys in there, your life is going to be a living hell, okay? That is not the way to ingratiate yourself with people in there. I get it. Going to do what they want to do, but I'm telling you what I know for a fact that will lead to you having an even worse time in any branch of the military, okay? So I'm just telling you what I know on this, but we're not done yet because, see, I'm going to further make my case. While we don't owe America any more of our blood, we don't owe them to put on any more uniforms until reparations are paid and we get an anti-black hate crime bill and we get the respect that we rightly deserve here at home in our nation that we built as foundational Black American freedmen.
Now we have a special Facism report for Black History Month.
Our colleague David Ono joining us with a deep and sobering look into a secret chapter from our nation's military past.
In 1943, poet Langston Hughes wrote, "You tell me that Hitler is a mighty bad man. I guess he took lessons from the Ku Klux Klan. I ask you this question because I want to know how long I got to fight both Hitler and Jim Crow." That poem perfectly sums up the life of a black soldier in World War II. And we call this episode of Facism The Secret Document.
Castle Agonolfi has been sitting high above the stunning Italian coastline for 1,500 years. There are many stories in its past, but there's one in particular that teaches us about America.
Between Georgia.
Italian historian Davide Del Guadice takes me to this ancient fortress where during World War II, an incredible American soldier named Vernon Baker single-handedly did something unimaginable.
He destroyed one German tank and several bunkers.
Baker was part of a segregated African-American unit whose mission was to capture the castle. He said,
now, let me pause it right here because, see, for young people listening to this today, whether you listen to live or recorded, this may shock you to hear the term that he just used. Yes, there was a such thing as segregated military units. You take it on back to the time of the legendary Buffalo Soldiers, legendary Harlem Hellfighters. These brothers had to deal with not even being able to eat in the same mess hall. Let me tell you how bad this was for you young ones here, because those of you that are my age and older, you understand the truth of what I'm saying. But the young people wouldn't know this because this was far beyond their time, okay, before they came into the world. You better understand that during World War I and II, etc., these white supremacists would go and eat with the enemy before they would eat with a black person. This is not my conjecture. This is actual history. You can look this up. They're going to get into some of what I just said here in a moment, okay? So I'm making the case for why we don't owe them any more of our blood. We go above and beyond for this nation, and then we come back and are disrespected at home and not even respected as equals when we're alongside these people. See, this is the legacy that they really don't want to talk about. This is why they're trying to take all the history out of the schools, et cetera, et cetera. But this is the job of those of us that are well-educated and well-versed on this as Black Americans to make sure that our youth understand who exactly these people are that they're dealing with, because they absolutely have not changed. Get back to it.
With 25 men, almost all were killed, the rest wounded. But he kept fighting, dodging minefields, knocking out machine gun nests and watchtowers, and taking on German after German. Thanks to his courage, the castle was captured and Baker was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross. But with such an incredible feat, why not our highest award, the Medal of Honor?
Did any African Americans receive the Medal of Honor during World War II? The answer is no, during the World War II era.
There's a lot more to Colonel Kowalski Salter's answer, but first you have to hear the history of the black soldier in America.
Minorities in the military have always been an integral part of our military service.
From the Revolutionary War on.
Let me stop him right there, because see, that's a problem that I have with some black folks that were in the military and retired. We not talking about no goddamn minorities. We talking about Black Americans, foundational Black American men that were the real life heroes of this damn nation. See, that really pisses me off when I hear another black person that's a former service member do that. No, we talking about black people. I couldn't let that slide. Let's let it continue.
The African-American soldier has always distinguished himself with honor, fighting for our freedom, even though in many cases, freedom was denied to him. In fact, one of the most legendary units in our history is known as the Buffalo Soldier, all African Americans famous for their toughness.
Between 1866 and 1891, they were awarded 18 Medals of Honor.
Colonel Salter has a PhD in military history specializing in African Americans. He says Vernon Baker's story is just a glimpse at the realities of being black in World War II.
And so it was a secret document.
To truly understand, the colonel shows me a once secret document from 1925. It's from the Army War College, which at the time was where primarily white officers in the Army would go to further their military education.
The subject is the use of Negro manpower in war.
It's a hateful study the Army War College used right up to World War II, teaching officers about African American soldiers. It's 60 pages, but its main points are summarized on page 1.
The Negro is physically qualified for combat duty. He is by nature subservient and believes himself to be inferior to the white man.
This is what they thought of our elders and ancestors that were combat veterans back then. Let me tell you something, man. My great-grandfather was a Buffalo Soldier. Okay? So I come from a military family, basically. I take shit like this personal. I remember when I first learned of it, it was a hard pill to swallow with a lot of this, because see, when it's in your family, then you take it personal, okay? And, you know, all of us take it personal, but definitely if you know of relatives that you had that were service members, to hear this kind of stuff, the way they looked at us, and see, let's be clear, I'm not just going to say back then, they still look at us this way, okay? They still do. See, white supremacists will try to tell you, oh, ain't no white supremacy, this, that, the third. And, you know, y'all know all the goofy stuff that they try to tell you. But see, what you experience and what our ancestors experienced proves them 100% wrong. Okay? Because if they were correct, you wouldn't be hearing none of the stuff that I'm going to present to you here tonight. See, I'm showing you what the mentality was in the past, which is why I say we don't owe them any more of our blood or service until they do right by those that built this nation and have served this nation in every war. Okay? I want y'all to listen to what they're describing in this report, though, because, see, I understand that a lot of young people wouldn't know this unless somebody sat them down and explained it to them. Let it continue.
He cannot control himself in the fear of danger. He has not the initiative and resourcefulness. He is mentally inferior to the white man.
It turns back all of the great things that African Americans had done.
Due to this study and blatant racist stereotyping, African Americans weren't allowed to fight until late in the war, and that's when Vernon Baker and so many others proved that study wrong.
They were denied their nation's highest honor, but their deeds could not be denied.
In 1997, after a special review determined 7 African Americans were denied the Medal of Honor in World War II due to prejudice, Vernon Baker was the only one left among them.
And God bless you, Vernon Baker, and God bless America.
At a White House ceremony 52 years after his amazing feat, Baker receives the Medal of Honor. As a crowd stands, finally recognizing him for what he truly is, a hero, this soldier is moved to tears. It took an ancient castle in Italy to teach us about the great Vernon Baker and how character is the one true measure of a person.
War ended. There are many of our brave African-American soldiers elated to board the ship home, but upon their arrival, the gangplank to shore split with a sign that said, whites one way, coloreds the other. The war against Jim Crow was far from over. And back to that study, so to speak.
Now, did you hear that, family? This is what a lot of the veterans in our family had to go through. Whites one way, colors the other. See, they're not going to talk about this in schools today. When they make those asinine statements talking about America has never been this divided, this is the history that I put back in their face. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, really? For those that you say you respect for going to fight for the country, you going to tell me that we've never been this divided when this is a part of American history? Huh? See, this is why it's important to know it. Because, see, if the white supremacists have their way, they'll act like none of this ever happened. And they want that for Black American youth so that they can be ignorant to the threat and the danger that's around them today, because they pass white supremacy down like a family heirloom. But I want y'all to finish listening to what they're about to describe here, because, see, I'm not done making my case. I told you. By the time this broadcast is over, if anybody has any arguments, it's really just going to be because really you buck dancing for them folks, and you can't say that you love our people the way that I do. If you're going to try to argue against that and say, nah, just disregard all this that GBS is showing you here in the modern era with the problems, and just say, go on in there anyway. Let's let it continue.
The Army War College, you think about who it could have influenced. And you look at the graduates in that period they were using. General Patton, General Eisenhower, who then became President Eisenhower. And you wonder the effect it could have had on them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now you see that it took 52 years for them to honor that brother, you know, for his merit and his accomplishments. I'm going to say something else that's going to piss these white supremacists off. In all branches of the United States military, we are still the workhorses. We are. In any live fire or combat zone, who you think do most of the heavy lifting? I'm not going to say that there's no, people that are not Black that don't put in work. But see, when it comes time to actually handle some things, I'm going to tell you right now, this is why they would be beside themselves if Black folks weren't in the military. Because, see, a lot of them are cowards. I'm going to be honest with you. Tell you what I've seen. A lot of them are cowards, okay? And a lot of them will do one of the things that you never do in a combat situation, which is try to take shortcuts. You could get everybody killed doing that, okay? But see, this is where we are now with this. So we got to get into some more here that I'm trying to present to you all to show you why I'm saying I do not want any of our sisters to join any branch of the military. No young Black person, but especially our sisters. This one is going to hit heavy on a lot of our hearts because it's going to stay with me forever. Because again, like I said, one of the things that gets to me, I found out about any young person that, you know, has expired before their time, before they even get to my age. And I'm not even anywhere near 50 yet, but I just hate, you know, hearing that. And, you know, there was no justice done for this sister, and there's probably never going to be any justice done. But we're going to have to cover it here tonight because, you know, I want to give you some food for thought that if you do plan to join any branch of the military, you need to be aware of the things that are still going on to this day and what you just may have to deal with, being that white supremacy and anti-Black racism is still a thing, even in the military.
Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery. Here, the US military honours more than 170,000 war dead from campaigns past and present. But for the family of one soldier buried here, the Defence Force's code of honour and respect means nothing.
You blessed us when you gave her to us. We just never imagined we wouldn't have her long enough.
Today, Dr. John Johnson has come back to reaffirm his promise to his 19-year-old daughter that he will continue the fight to find out how she died.
God, I'm asking you to just continue to bless us, to encourage us, to get justice for her.
Dr. Johnson refuses to believe the Army's finding that his daughter, Private Lavina Lynn Johnson, killed herself just 5 weeks into her tour of Iraq by firing her M16 rifle into her mouth.
You get a 19-year-old female that gets off work. She puts an infrared reflecting belt around her waist. She stops at the PX and she buys soda, lip balm, and M&Ms. Then you're gonna say she walks across the post and sits down in a dark, trashy contractor's tent and sat down and shot herself with an M16 rifle. And that doesn't even make sense.
Yes, family, we have to cover this because Private First Class Lavina Lynn Johnson, that was horrific what happened to that sister and her family. This is going to be their account of what they tried to do to get justice for the sister, which, by the way, they haven't gotten to this day, and they're not even taking her life as if it mattered, because I'm going to give my thoughts on what I know happened to that sister, to be honest with you. Because when I heard the accounts and what had happened, I said, yeah, see, that's one of the things that underscored what I'm saying to you here tonight about me not wanting our sisters to join any part of these folks' military, okay? And, you know, like I said, no parent should have to know what it's like to bury a child. That no parent should have to. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I really would not. But I want y'all to listen to what the family is going through dealing with that loss of their daughter. She was only 19 years old, hadn't even started living, full of life. You know how women don't talk about killing themselves. Black people, period. We don't sit around and talk about killing ourselves, no matter what we're dealing with. And the way they try to describe that, see, you think about how a couple of years back when there was all those hangings and they was finding young Black men strung up with their hands tied behind their back and their pants down with the noose around their neck. We don't even know how to tie nooses like that. And what they go ahead and rule it, oh, it was just a suicide. That let you know them damn race soldiers was in on that. And see, I'm bringing that up because, see, the military has the same race soldier system, okay? They have the same system. So you're going to see why I said a lot of what I said earlier here tonight about the things that sisters go through in the military. And this is why I had examples of sisters that were recently in that were talking about some of the things that they were experiencing. Let's let it continue.
She put all her senior paraphernalia all around the room. And she was asking me, Mom, do I have it right? How does this look? And I can't bear to take it down.
Exactly. Lavina's mother, Linda, spoke to her daughter the night before she died.
She was her happy, jubilant, bubbly self We laughed. Like I said, we were making plans, talking about Christmas, and it's July 17th.
2 days after that call, a soldier showed up unannounced at the Johnsons' home in Missouri.
So he looked up at me and he said, "Are you Linda Johnson, the mother of Private Lavina Lynn Johnson?" And I said, "Yes, I am. What do you want?" And he opened his little book and he began to read, "I regretfully inform you that your daughter, Private Lavina Lynn Johnson, is dead of a self-inflicted wound, gunshot wound." And I just began screaming and hollering. I lost it. I couldn't believe it.
After the initial shock, the family began to question the Army's rush to judgment that Lavina died of a self-inflicted injury.
Okay, that's the one with the rifle.
Dr. Johnson is a veteran himself who went on to work for the Army as a civilian specialist in psychology for nearly 3 decades. But for the past 3 years, he has studied every aspect of his daughter's death.
Okay. But I'm looking for the sketch that the criminal investigators made. That's the shell casing. Yeah, close up of it. That's another blood pattern.
With his brother Joe, a former prisons officer with forensics training, they've spent countless hours analysing and cross-referencing photos, reports, and the testimony of those in the camp.
Eyewitness accounts, they state that from the time he heard what he deemed to be either backfire or a gunshot, he looked in the direction and he saw flames coming from the tent known as DFAC-2, which is the contractor's tent.
One of the many inconsistencies, according to Dr. Johnson, is the Army's conclusion that Lavina used an accelerant to start a small fire to burn her diary, which then spread to a nearby bench.
The witnesses say that the stool was lying on top of her. Someone lit an accelerant, and the accelerant was sitting on the bottom of the stool. So physically, that evidence just shows there was at least another person in that location when her body was placed there, because that's not where she died.
There's also, you believe, that there's signs that she was sexually assaulted.
Correct.
Dr. Johnson.
I'm gonna pause it right here because it's everything I can do to contain myself. But I have to speak on this, and I've been dreading speaking on this for quite some time, but now is as good a time as any for me to make my case with this. Sisters, this is a reality that you have to deal with because white women in the military deal with this, but we talking about our community. This is how I know that she was definitely sexually assaulted by them damn cowardly demons. Because see, my conjecture on what happened is the young sister was 19, probably proud of herself for making private first class. You know, that would be on the E3 rank, something like that. So some of them white boys probably came on to the sister. She probably wasn't feeling them and rejected them. And from that moment, and see, I want you sisters to listen to me, because don't listen to me if you won't take it from a man. Go talk to other sisters that have been in the military and let them tell you about their experiences. If you won't take it from me, because I know everybody won't listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying this because I care about my community. She probably rejected them, and from that moment on, they're like, "Oh, we gonna get this little nigga bitch." I'm telling you, I know how they think and how they talk, especially if there's no brothers around. And see, this is why, you know, anytime that I was around sisters, I always tried to make sure to let them know, "Hey, sister, you good? You all right? Hey, you know, need me for anything? If I can help you," you know what I'm saying? Just let them know. You got to make sure that if you're in any branch of the service as a black person, you got to be a family, okay? Might not know these people from a hole in the wall, but you got to stick together, okay? Because they usually try to back off them sisters if they know that there's other brothers in there that'll bust their ass about them sisters. You understand? See what it was. She turned them down, and they caught that. So she probably, our sisters, spirited, passionate. When they get to, giving you a piece of their mind, and she probably thought that was going to be the end of it. and being that she was basically just a teenager, she did not understand that these demonic white supremacists were going to view that as, how dare you reject me, okay? I could tell also by looking at those horrific photos that her body was placed there as well. And the fact that they're talking about she using it, selling it. See, think about it. We know our people, family. Even for the black people, the few black people that do commit suicide, when's the last time you ever heard about any of us doing that way? See, what that was, they were trying to get rid of the evidence. And see, for those that don't know, the other thing that makes me know I'm right about my assessment, and I agree with her father about what happened to her, they poured acid on this sister's genitals, trying to get rid of DNA evidence. That's exactly what that's for. That's what they did that for. And see, don't notice also for you in white America that claim that you white allies. I want anybody in my chat room that remembers Private First Class Lavina Lynn Johnson. I want you to correct me on this if I'm wrong. Remember when this happened to this sister? Where was the groundswell of white Americans calling to get justice for this sister? Where the groundswell of good white people now saying, hey, we demand justice for this soldier here that was trying to serve her country. She needs justice. Where were the white people that were going above and beyond to call for justice for this sister? Can anybody tell me? Because I'm open to it. If you saw it, let me know, because I didn't see it. And I was looking. I said that to make the point that, as Dr. John Henry Clark has told us, we have no friends. We don't. I've said it many times, and this is why I do what I do on my platform. And when I specifically speak to the sisters, I let you know that they look at you as less than human. They don't see any black person as human, but especially not you, for the reasons that I gave earlier in the broadcast, okay? And see, what infuriates me, and it's hard for me to even speak on this, is to just think of how scared that sister was in her last moment. She probably tried to put up as best a fight she could, but them cowards, man, it had to be probably at least 3 of them in there. But again, I'm making my case for why I don't want sisters in the military. And I want you to listen to her father and her family talk about what they're going through trying to get justice. Because, see, I don't want that to be any one of you. I don't care how many enemies I make, even if people I serve with don't give 2 shits about that. My primary responsibility is to the loyalty and the well-being and safety of my people. Let's let it continue.
Johnson believes Lavina was raped and murdered by someone in her camp and accuses the army of covering up a soldier-on-soldier slaying.
Okay, let me put some more.
It would be easy to dismiss his conclusions as the imaginings of a grief-stricken father if it weren't for the disturbing pattern of sex crimes and judicial inaction in the US military.
Please give a warm welcome to Jessica Kenyon.
Salute to the brother Singh Tiari for the cash app. I hope I pronounce your name right there. Forgive me, my brother. It's going to be a rough one for me tonight trying to get through this, but the truth has to be told nonetheless. Because like I said, I don't see too many people talking about this. I'm going to have to do it. Sisters, if you were not convinced by what I'm saying to you, I want you to listen to what happens to their own women, okay? See, this is why I included this portion in this broadcast here tonight, to further underscore the point that I was making about their women having to experience this too. And again, if they treat their own women like that, they're not going to treat you better than they treat their own women, okay? So I want y'all to take notes on this and listen to what they're about to describe that one of their own went through as far as dealing with the sexual harassment and sexual assault and in the military. I'm going to let this play.
Jessica Kenyon is an Army veteran, and today she is giving a talk to students at a New York college.
I didn't understand until it happened to me. I couldn't have effectively helped anybody until it happened to me.
Jessica says she survived multiple rapes and sexual assaults during her military career, and she is now campaigning to increase awareness of the problem.
It is important for those of us who are able to speak out to do so, for the ones who are just not able to mentally or emotionally or whatever. So this is 2nd Infantry Division, which is basically everybody in Korea.
Becoming an officer had been her dream.
And then the wings in the U.S. signify that I was in aviation.
But as a mechanic attached to a helicopter squadron, Kenyon found herself in a unit where few women had been before, and in a culture where bullying and persecution was the norm.
That was just pretty much a hazing birthday ritual, you know, where they do this, they make him all up, and then he's actually tied to a chair right now, but then they make him up and throw him in the mud.
Sexual harassment at all levels was commonplace, and women were a source of derision. In this video she filmed at her base, a young soldier was taunted and humiliated by his commander for more than 4 hours after it was discovered he was a virgin.
1, 2, 3, louder! I want to get laid! I want to get laid! I want to get laid!
Now, let me pause it right here because I need to make this clear. See, these right here, these jackasses that do this type of shit in any branch of the military, these are your white supremacists right here. These are your white supremacists. I want you to be clear on what you're looking at. White people in there that's not like that, they don't even try this bullshit. But the white supremacists, this is what they do. This is what they do to their own, okay? You heard the reason why they said they was giving this young man here, giving him hell in there because they said they found out he was a virgin. Now, he should know his own people, and he should have known that that's not the place that you divulge that type of information. I don't know why or how that conversation came up with them about anything, but see, this is what they do to their own. Now, I'm underscoring this to say yet again, they will do these types of things to their own, even their men. This is some of the reality that you'll have to deal with in the military if you get around the wrong kind. Now, let me talk about my time. Let me tell you something. I only had 2 incidents where they thought they were going to try me. And by the time that was rectified, they learned real quick that I was not the one that was going to tolerate any type of disrespect whatsoever, especially if you come at me with that racial bullshit. Not going to be tolerated. And the other thing that helped me out, and this is everybody's situation, because I was exceptionally good at the things that I was assigned to do. And, you know, upon my rise up to petty officer first class, a lot of the people that were under my command did not allow for any disrespect of me at all. Okay. They didn't tolerate it. So my situation was slightly different, but I'm not going to act like I didn't see anything or didn't have to check some of them punk ass white boys. Because see, let me tell you something. I'm sure a lot of you brothers that are also retired veterans in here will agree with this. If you're good at what you do and you start going up the rank before them sorry ass, punk ass, cowardly white boys that join, I'm not saying all of them, I'm saying the ones that you know who you are, the ones that do this type of shit, oh, they feel some type of way because they're lazy as fuck. They think that everything is supposed to be handed to them because they got the complexion for the protection. But you know that as a Black American, anything that we get, we have to be 3 times as good and work 7 times as hard to get half as much. Huh? So this is where they start to resent you. And one of them found out the hard way. I won't go into details, but let's just say, you know, he got introduced to a change. I'll say that. And he learned that, hey, listen, boy, you better get back in your place. And if you want to get where I'm at, you better put in the work that I put in. His little punk ass got sent packing, but that's a whole story for another day. My point is, if they'll do this to their own, you better know what you're going to probably be dealing with as a Black person going in, especially a woman, okay? I just want you to understand that I'm showing you this not just from my point of view. I'm showing you examples that back up the statements that I made. Let's let it continue.
Whilst in the US, Jessica says she was raped by a National Guard soldier and later sexually harassed by her training instructor. Jessica was then posted to Korea, where she continued working on Apache helicopters and still had high hopes for her career.
So it didn't really affect my work until I was fully assaulted, fully raped by another soldier in Korea, who was actually a friend of mine, one of the few I had confided in while I was overseas. And so I didn't report that right away either as well, because for the same exact reasons that I couldn't trust my command or my commanders or my sergeants or anyone associated with my command.
And she's saying that for a reason, and she's telling the truth, because what a lot of them will do, depending on, some of them will even know about it, they'll cover up for each other. I know what the law says, I know what the system says, but when you, that's two different realities when you're in there, the way things are supposed to go and the way things actually are. And see, this is one reason why anytime I ran across sisters, no matter what branch they were in, no matter where I was, hey, sister, come here. Chop it up with them. Keep a good blade on you. No, start keeping one. Start keeping one. You know what I'm saying? I would often counsel them on, hey, be ready to protect yourself. What about when even when you going to sleep, keep one on you somewhere close by just in case, so you have something to defend yourself with. Should them bastards say, okay, we going to try her next. So like she in a position where we going to try her. See, I'm all about, telling you what things could be done to mitigate that as well, not just pointing it out, okay? But again, I'd rather for no sister to be in there. But if you are a sister that's in there and you listen to this, keep a blade on you. Well, yes, keep you a blade on you at all times, because unfortunately, sometimes you might run across them demonic, cowardly bastards in there. They just may try you, and that might be the difference maker between you getting out of that situation or not, okay? So I'm going to let this continue, and I want y'all to further listen to what she's saying that she went through here, because it's very important.
Jessica says that she eventually made an official report after her superior insisted he would make sure her assailant was jailed. But when her attacker was found guilty, she says that same commander gave him just 45 hours of extra duty and a demotion of 2 ranks.
It really breaks my heart, because I was going in, I was really pushing for the 20 years, go officer, and, I was fully capable. But, it was just, for all of that to go down the way it did, and, for me to do the right thing, and then for them to not even hold their end of the bargain, let alone add any honor to it, it was really pretty disgusting and heartbreaking. And
most sexual assault victims are not treated well. They become a double victim. They become a victim of the system.
The only thing that's remaining is the name.
Retired Army Colonel Anne Wright is another veteran campaigning against sexual assaults.
The issue of sexual assault in our U.S. military is very grave. 1 in 3 women, it appears, have been sexually assaulted during the time they've been in the military.
How the economy is still.
The former US diplomat and anti-war activist believes the military justice system is stacked against sexual assault victims.
You're tattling on someone else in your unit, even though that person has committed a criminal act on you. Word gets out in the unit, yeah, so-and-so's been messing around with someone else, and look at Sergeant so-and-so, he's being accused of rape, and he's got a wife and 2 kids, and we can't sacrifice his career because of this unmarried, single 19-year-old woman that claims that he raped her.
You heard that, family? you heard it from their own people's mouths, okay? This woman, they say she's a retired colonel. You heard what she said. She is not lying about one word that she stated. That's exactly the mindset of those white males in the military, white supremacist males with their cowardly, demonically ass. That's exactly how they talk about those situations, and that's with their women. Now, you imagine how they talk about situations when it's our women that they do that to, huh? And see, this is another thing why I often tell the sisters that those of you in the civilian world, when you come across these race soldiers and you by yourself, do not be going off at the mouth, because you never know when the next Daniel Holtzclaw is out there and he puts some cuffs on you, put you in that backseat and take you somewhere and decide to have his way with you. They calm under fire. That's one of my worst nightmares when I see these videos But these sisters be out there by themselves and they just start going off on these damn racists. You don't know what you talking to. I say what, not who, because they're not even human beings. They're demonic cowards, and the same type of mindset is in the military, okay? So see, you heard her describing how they view that. They go and try to protect the assailant's career, all right? And see, this is why if you brothers are in the military, listen to this, you got to get to know your sisters, man. So that way you can tell when something's not right, even if they're not talking to you. You know what I'm saying? And let them know that, hey, sis, something wrong. Come to me, talk to me. Let me know. Don't ignore it. Don't just blow it off or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You got to tell somebody. So that way you can have some type of backup. Because I'm going to say it again. When brothers are around and they know that that sister has got brothers that's going to look out for her, they don't even try it like that. They know better, okay? But that's not always going to be the case depending on where you are and what unit you're in and all that kind of thing like that. And then, you know, if they see that a sister is protected in them by brothers and shit, what they'll do next is like, okay, if we see we can't just get to you at any given time and try to make you a victim, but when you start going to the chain of command, we finna start giving you hell that way. Okay? And you can handle that because if you was on any job, you know how to deal with them folks when it comes to that. It'll be annoying or what have you, but I'm just letting you know what would be the next alternative that they're going to try to do. And this is why I say if you in there, don't be trying to make a career out of it. I understand what I did. I get it, but that was a different time. I'm a man. You're a woman. No. You do your 4, 6 at the max and get the fuck out. Go do something else. Start your own business. Get you a good paying job in the civilian sector on a base or what have you, where you're not enlisted, okay? That's my advice to you, and I'm going to stand by that, and I'm not going to change my tune. Because you hear what they're saying about what their own women have to go through. Sometimes it's better to hear it from them folks instead of a black person. Let's let it continue.
But one-off violent assaults are not the Army's only problem.
There's Jake in the background, then Sonia, and then Suzanne.
Suzanne Swift served in Iraq in 2004. Her mother, Sarah, remembers well the night before her departure.
Oh my God, boy. Oh, she was in Iraq? Oh no. That's no man's land. It's damn sure it was no woman's land. Anybody that remember that hill, boy? Nah. You know, but again, she's gonna describe her experience. And like I said, this is something else you have to keep in mind, sisters. When you join, it's not gonna be, you know, like the commercials, because you see the advertisements they try to use in all different branches. When you get deployed, them people that you with, you better bet you're gonna have to be able to trust them, and you're gonna have your core support system in whatever unit you're in. That be like, okay, if something go left, I know these brothers and sisters got my back. Okay, so I'm just underscoring that point. I can't say it enough. Let's let it continue.
This was Valentine's Day because I remember crying when all 3 of them were asleep, and I thought this may be the last time I ever have all 3 of my kids sleeping in the same room. Oh, Mom. Oh. Mm-hmm.
Soon after arriving in Iraq, then 19-year-old Suzanne started calling her mother to tell her about problems within her platoon.
I heard that the man that told me, don't worry, ma'am, we're going to take good care of your daughter, started asking her to go into a sexual relationship with him.
Yeah, this is the only one I have left because I gave all of them away to this people.
Suzanne experienced a phenomenon known in the military as command rape. Junior soldiers
Let me give you another point of advice here. Excuse me. Let me give you another point of advice, sisters, okay? And I want you to really take this to heart. If you're a black woman in the military, I don't care what you talk about, what you discuss. One thing you do not discuss, especially with them folks, is any type of personal or sexual relationship you had in the civilian world, okay? Excuse me. You do not discuss that with them. Because if you do, you setting yourself up for a bunch of problems, okay? Setting yourself up for a bunch of problems. So I just want to make sure I threw that part in there again. Do not discuss your personal sexual relationships, why are you in the service? Let's let it continue.
Coerced by higher-ranking commanders into sexual relationships, which the military legally defines as rape.
A couple of months into it, it kind of dawned on me that that I could say no to it, and that I just hated it that much that I was like, you know what, I don't care what you do to me.
She was telling me about the humiliation. She was telling me about the things that these men were doing and saying. I remember one point she said, "Mom, you're either a bitch or a whore, and I don't want to be either one of those. I don't want to be a bitch. I don't want to be a whore." And really, I remember her crying.
But when Suzanne complained about how she was being treated, she says she was threatened.
He called me into his room one night and he was like, "Look, I know that you're thinking that it might be an okay thing to go to the commander about this, but I'm just gonna deny it and you're gonna be the one that gets in trouble."
Suzanne was sent on scheduled home leave, but when it came time to ship back to Iraq, she froze and chose to go AWOL rather than return to face her assailants.
So why did you decide? What happened that moment when you said no?
I just realized that there's no escape when you're there. In Iraq, no, the guy in charge of you is the guy in charge of you, and he can make you do anything, including, like, you know, run through that minefield. You, go, I don't like you.
This is Suzanne's statement to the military about her command rapes. When she was eventually arrested and jailed for going AWOL, the Army offered her a deal. It would reduce her sentence if she signed a new, watered-down statement.
So Suzanne's response to that was, "Fuck that, I'm not doing it." And then she took the document and she corrected everything that they had written just so that they would really see what really happened to her. You know, I always, and to this day, absolutely believe my daughter 100%. But that really, I mean, she's got some power. You know, she's very powerful and she's very strong. And this showed me that she would rather go to prison than say, you know, than deny what happened to her.
Let me pause it right here and make something clear. And excuse me, you know, it's a difficult broadcast to discuss this, but it must be done. That statement that she said about her daughter being so strong and her having power, no, you don't. No, you don't. You do not have power in that system when all of them, especially commanding officers, have conspired to work against you, okay? You don't have no power in that situation, not like she's trying to make it sound. I get what she meant, but no, you don't. Unless you have another commanding officer or officers, preferably, on your side dealing with that type of situation, you don't have no power because they hold all the cards and they can make up whatever they want. Let's let it continue.
Suzanne Swift is now out of the Army and getting back into normal life. Today, helping out a friend with babysitting.
It's different. It's weird coming home and just like everybody's doing normal, regular life things. You know, it's like, really? This still goes on? Like life goes on when I'm out in the world doing other stuff? There we go.
But for the next 18 months, she is still on a ready reserve list, with the possibility of being called back hanging over her, and her assailant still unpunished.
A major complaint of the people that I've talked to who have been victims of sexual assault is that when they reported it, that they were victimised.
This is a phenomenon that has existed, and this is precisely part of the culture that we are, in fact, turning around.
Brigadier General Jeff Phillips is a 30-year career veteran and Deputy Chief at the Army's Public Relations Department.
Before I go any farther, I want to offer an apology to anyone associated with the Army who has endured sexual abuse, sexual harassment, assault of any kind. This is a problem that the Army is tackling with. We're going at it full bore, quite frankly.
A sexual assault wounds the victim, physically, mentally, and emotionally.
To try to change its culture, the Army recently launched an awareness campaign using DVDs like this one.
When a sexual assault occurs, it is a direct violation of not just our Army core values and warrior ethos. It is an assault on the Army way of life, a life in which it is our duty to protect and take care of each other, no matter the time, place.
Really what we're doing here is we're engaged in cultural change, not unlike what the Army went through in the late 40s, 50s, and into the 60s as we addressed racial inequality. Cultural change at a very profound level. The Army, in fact, is leading the country in this sort of cultural change.
A quorum being present, the Subcommittee on National Security.
Those claims are no longer impressing the Army's civilian masters.
Will come to order.
I find it outrageous that brave women.
At a hearing on sexual assault in the military last September, Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney bemoaned the lack of progress by the Department of Defense.
I have been in Congress for 7 terms now, and every single term we have had meetings with DOD, and they come in and they confirm to us, we're going to be serious, we're going to take care of this, we're going to stop this, zero tolerance. But the rhetoric is not being turned into the reality of protecting our women and in some cases men in our military.
The committee was grilling Dr. Kay Whitley. She's the head of the Defence Department unit set up to address the sexual assault problem.
That was the best course of action.
But Dr. Whitley had failed to even turn up to an earlier hearing. And having finally appeared, she had few answers, even as to why her own oversight body hadn't met for nearly 2 years.
Do you know why it didn't meet?
My understanding is they had a difficult time getting the right people in the jobs and getting them cleared. As I said, I wasn't privy to the discussions about why I
See,
would hear
the problem I'm having is that it sounds like you're weak.
Dateline tried to speak with Dr. Whitley, but she declined to be interviewed.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
It seems that in this whole area, all the Army can do is apologise.
In fact, the first thing we do is apologize because we do recognize that there is a problem that reflects a society-wide problem.
To say it's reflective of society is to dismiss the extent of the problem, though, isn't it? Because the problem is much bigger in the military than the real world.
We are acting aggressively on the problem, and so the farthest thing we're doing is dismissing it. What we're saying is we recognize that this is part of a larger piece. The piece that we can act on is the piece in the Army, and that's what we're acting directly on.
Now, let me go ahead and put this out here on Front Street. They're really not going to like me saying it, but I'm going to tell the truth. Where these incidents are the highest and occurred the most are in majority white units. Yeah, I said it. I said it. They occur the most in majority white units, okay? You don't have to believe me. You can look this up and talk to anybody. You can find this out for yourself. So, again, I'm making my case. I don't want any of our people going in, but especially not our sisters, because if they'll do that to their own women, they'll definitely do it to you. I can't say it enough times, but we're going to get back to examining now, first class Lavina Lynn Johnson here. And I just could not imagine having a daughter and just, I'm just not built that way. I can't even say. I just know I'm not built that way to sit here, even after time has passed, and discuss it. I will have to get justice. I'll just say it that way. I will have to get justice. So I want y'all to listen to what her father is about to describe here, because I know this is hard to listen to, but like I said, somebody's got to put this information out here, and they can't sugarcoat it. Let's let it continue.
None of that is any consolation to John Johnson.
Lividity is running down the left side of her body, which clearly implicates that she was lying on her left side when she died.
Not on her back.
Not on her back, like what she was found.
For him and his family, the search for answers goes on. Every piece of evidence they have had to be forced out of the Army using Freedom of Information requests.
So to have to apply constantly under freedom of information, to be subjected to rounds and rounds of paperwork just to find out the basics, is that how it is?
Information that is available to them under the law and under policy should be forthcoming.
But if it hasn't been?
That is a mistake that should be corrected.
Dr. Johnson believes the small fire that burned next to his daughter's body is evidence that someone tried to cover up her slaying. But the Army says there's no evidence to back that.
The fire inside the tent resulted from PFC Johnson setting some papers on fire.
Now let me pause this right here, because see, if this was something that happened to a white person, or I'm going here, if this was something that happened to a white person in the civilian world and black people were accused of doing it, they wouldn't buy none of what they're about to describe here in this report, okay? They wouldn't buy none of that. You couldn't pay a forensic team to say, yeah, well, you know, it was like they killed themselves and they actually used an accelerant to set a fire and all that. None of that would be bought. None of it. Huh? And see, think about this. The other thing that infuriates me about them playing with people's intelligence, how is she going to shoot herself in the mouth with her gun and light a fire at the same damn time? Come on, make it make sense now. Somebody talk to me. Make it make sense. How's she gonna kill herself and set the fire at the same damn time? The way they're talking about. Oh, but I don't know nothing though. I want y'all to listen to this bullshit. Let's let it continue.
She used an accelerant to ignite several pages that she had ripped out of a notebook, which is believed to have been a diary.
The Army investigators also claim that Lavina's behaviour prior to her death pointed to suicide. But her own company commander's statement suggested otherwise.
This soldier was clearly happy and seemingly very healthy, physically and emotionally.
With no suicide note, no recovered bullet, no significant gunshot residue on her hands, and injuries the Johnsons believe were caused by an attacker, they decided to push on with their own inquiries.
News 4 is taking you behind the scenes of the investigation into the death of a local soldier. The death of Private Lavina Johnson is clouded in controversy and allegations of a cover-up. News 4's Matt Cesney was
The Johnsons had Lavina's body exhumed and an independent autopsy conducted by Missouri state officials. But it failed to provide conclusive answers.
This examination does not demonstrate any evidence of an assault. But you can't eliminate sexual activity by an examination of an adult person. And if there's not injury, that doesn't mean that there hasn't been sexual activity.
So you can't rule it out?
You cannot rule it out.
Let me point this out also. As disturbing as the details of this are, I got to underscore this and say it, besides the point that I just made briefly a little while ago. At what point did she pour acid on her own genitals? At what point did she do that? You see how none of this shit makes sense? So they want you to believe she set this fire. Let's just say they're trying to say she set the fire before she shot herself. Then she ripped out pages from her diary. No woman does that. Then she shot herself in the mouth. Okay, well, at what point? Because see, think about it. That's the gotcha right there. They found acid burns on her genitalia. So they're trying to say, what, she dashed the acid on herself, then shot. See how that don't make no damn sense? That's infuriating beyond all words to describe it. But this is what they want you to believe, family. Let's let it continue.
The military having failed to conduct a rape test at the time of her death, there was little more that could be done. 9 months after Lavina's death, the Defence Force finalised its report, officially concluding that she committed suicide and that the case be closed.
You know, look how the dripping looks like this would have been in the other direction. So the implication here is that when they placed, that the leg was in the reverse position.
Peter Diachuk and Nick Petracco are forensic scientists at John Jay College of Criminal Justice in New York.
Just melted plastic stuck.
Dateline approached them to take an independent look at the Lavina Johnson case.
What is interesting.
After reviewing the evidence, they say they understand why the Johnsons doubt the military's findings.
Is this, in your mind, a suicide?
That conclusion, I believe, is premature at this point. It is one of the potential conclusions, but to say definitively, I don't see enough compelling evidence taken overall to state that it is, in fact, a suicide. I think that's one of the possibilities.
Both have concerns about evidence that appears missed or missing, including the failure to test if she had been sexually assaulted.
They said it wasn't done because she was clothed. Is that enough to say, well, you don't need to?
That really doesn't matter. You know, people can be dressed and undressed, etc. So, in fact, she had some burning, possible burning on the skin, on the leg, and not apparent burning on the clothing. Might mean something happened with the clothing off. So these are the things you want to check.
Of course it meant something happened with the clothing off. What they did, they sexually assaulted that sister, they killed her, and then threw that acid on her genitalia to try to hide their damn crime, demonic fucking cowards that they are. And then they put clothes on her and placed her body in that contractor's tent. That's what they did. Come on now. Who in here in this chat room thinks that I'm off base by saying that? Huh? We got to make it make sense, because see, you just look at all the details that they're surrounding and talking about the way she committed suicide. That's an odd way to do that. If you just look at all the factors involved, that is a very odd way for somebody to commit suicide. Usually, as macabre as it sounds, if somebody's going to take themselves out, they don't go through all that elaboration and like complex things to take themselves out. They choose that one method and then they just get to it. You see what I'm saying? See, they know that doesn't make sense. Just looking at traditional suicide patterns, no matter who you're looking at. It's usually, whether it's going to be pills, a gunshot, whatever they're going to do, it's usually that one thing, okay? They know that. But that's okay, though, because, see, this is why I say I believe in wishing curses on all those that have inflicted these injustices on our people, and those demonic white supremacist cowards that they're covering up for murdering this sister and sexually assaulting her. May your entire bloodline, down to even the firstborns, be cursed. May nothing go right for these people until they give us our reparations, an anti-black hate crime bill, and produce justice towards us as equal human beings. And that's exactly where I stand with that. And I'm not going to back down off that statement. Let's let it continue.
That's why you got to automatically check these things to eliminate the possibility of them having happened or not.
I think that there are so many unanswered questions about Lavina's death and how her body was found in a tent, how she was able to kill herself, set herself on fire, set the tent on fire. I'm stunned that so little investigation was done at the scene itself.
Tragically, according to Anne Wright, the Johnson story is not unique. Of the more than 115 female service member deaths in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, 16 have been ruled suicides.
I've talked to 4 of the families of those women, and they maintain their sister did not commit suicide, and questioned very strongly what did go on. And all of them are getting no cooperation from the military, from the Army. They are being told there's nothing else to investigate. We finished our investigation and we're not reopening it.
For the Johnsons, each day is a struggle. Their daughter's bedroom remains untouched, but there are no photos of her anywhere in the house.
When she left me in such a horrible, horrible way, it hurts me even more to look at that smile.
It's been a hell of a lot to go through.
Right.
How do you keep doing this?
You know, I think originally this was tough, but I'm on a mission You know, somebody murdered my daughter. I couldn't give up on my baby. So I'm gonna fight this until I get justice for her.
What's justice in your view?
They need to make some changes in their attitude about how they treat women in the military, because just getting past Lavina, that's not all for me. It's gonna be a fight now to see if we can get some changes in there.
I know this was a difficult broadcast to listen to. I can understand if any victims of sexual assault did not want to hear this, but someone needed to make this statement. Okay, if I don't ever speak on something like this again, this will be the broadcast that you referred to. If they take this down, I'll put it on Patreon, Rumble. I will make sure you have access to it. And let me say this. To you black fathers that are in your daughters' lives, don't encourage your daughters to go into the military, okay? Especially if you formerly served and you understand what that was. You know how they treat our people. You know it. Whatever you need to do to get them where they need to be without taking that route, that's what I strongly encourage. It would be irresponsible and cold-hearted of me to say anything other to my people. To you brothers and you sisters that are already in there, don't try to make a career out of that. We don't owe them any more of our blood or sacrifice. We've sacrificed enough. And if you don't think you have, know that you come from a lineage that has. You do your minimum tenure, you come out with the skills that you earn, and you put that into practice for yourself. There's a lot that you can learn just by your primary, basic, or military specialty in there, okay? Your MOS, all right? And you can put that into the real world and get you a civilian job making decent money or start your own business, okay? That's what I would recommend. For you brothers, I understand you're trying to do what you got to do to take care of yourself. But definitely if you don't have no kids, because I can understand if you say, well, brother, I got children. I'm trying to do the best I can. I understand that. This is why we must keep pushing to get these reparations. But I would suggest to you to try the skilled trades first. Get your CDL license, something else. I'm not going to encourage you to go in there. But if you are in there, just know that from a fellow retired veteran, I love you very much. You know, I'm praying for you. You know, I hope that you, as you went in good health, I hope you come out in good health, because we're the only ones that care about our people when it comes to these types of things. Okay. So with that said, family, I hope everybody got something from this broadcast. It was extremely difficult for me to do this, but it had to be done. Thank you to everybody that contribute to it. And before we go, I'm going to take this banner down because I promised the sister I will put this up again. Again here, closing on a good note. If you're inclined in helping our good sister, Mrs. L, with her back to school book bag giveaway, you can contribute to it at the link that I'm going to put in the chat room. I'll put it in there 3 more times here. I think it's a worthy cause. That's a great sister, her and her husband. They do good work in their community. And, you know, everybody can't do everything, but they're doing what they're able to do to help our people. And, you know, even no matter what you do, everybody can do a little something and it adds up to a lot. So date and the time of it is going to be July 27th this year, 12 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern. And the location is going to be McBrayer Park, Central Avenue in Hampton, Georgia, zip code 30220. Okay. So with that said, take care of yourselves, family. Know that we are a great and mighty people. We can do anything we put our minds to do, and we must get into the mindset of protecting each other because we are literally all we have. Black first, salute, and I will see you all in future content.